In other news, Endeavor Week in New York City brought together entrepreneurs shaping the future around the world. Several of these leaders were recently at the New York Stock Exchange. That includes Unobravo founder and CEO Danila Stefano, who told me how her firm is standing out in the mental health space. Check it out.
Basically, we are one of the first companies in Europe that made therapy fully online. So the users that are looking to start their therapy, they come to Unobravo and they fill out a questionnaire where we basically collect all the information related on the clinical aspects, so what they want to look on. For example, I want to solve an issue like I feel anxious or I don't live my life well for a certain symptoms, or even there are dynamics in my relationship with my partner that doesn't make me live well, or anything else that you want to improve in your life. So you select it and you add your considerations on our questionnaire. And basically our matching algorithm that is based on AI technology matches with one of the therapists that is the most suitable for all the needs that were expressed in the questionnaire. Once done, they start their therapy journey with the therapist, and hopefully they will find the right feeling with the therapist and they will continue the journey on our platform. Something else I really want to say is that we really take care also of the selection of those therapists. So, for instance, a therapist cannot just subscribe to Unobravo. We select one by one our therapists because our goal is not just to make therapy accessible, but also to provide high quality service.
What is the perception of mental health care in Europe?
Interesting question. You can expect that Europe is very fragmented, so the answer is different country by country. What we noticed is that in Southern Europe there is still a lot of stigma surrounding mental health care. This is also valid for Northern Europe, but also the US, honestly. Stigma is everywhere because for a long time vulnerability was not accepted as something to consider in people, because we always wanted to see people strong enough to deal and handle into every situation you can face. So on the other side, the vulnerability and so therefore mental health care could not be acceptable because it means that you show up yourself as fragile. But this is absolutely impossible because every person during the course of the life can experience struggles, can experience symptoms or problems. So this is something that for Unobravo is very important to normalize. From when we started, we try to fight this stigma. There are other countries that are more used to therapy, so it's more normalized already, and that's great because it means that people will take care of their mental health if it's needed. Because stigma, what the stigma does is that basically avoids you to take care of your mental health when it's needed. Because if you want to force yourself in fight on your own, basically it means you're not really taking care of yourself. That's a big problem.
What has the customer feedback been?
So far, very good, I have to say, because the results that we could achieve, all the numbers that I already mentioned, were possible only because users, even initially, even when the technology was very basic, were very surprised about the quality that they were able to get out of our service. I think one of the reasons is the fact that I wasn't born as an entrepreneur. Actually, I'm a psychologist. So everything that I have done from the very day one in Unobravo was about understanding how to scale clinical quality. That's the hardest thing to do, actually. The hardest thing is not building technology. Many people build technology. The hard thing is to replicate at scale an high-quality service. And in our case, of course, I'm talking about the clinical service that we provide. Considering I'm a therapist myself, I'm obsessed with all the clinical aspects. So that's why the feedback were so good, and this is visible in our external feedbacks that you can find on the various platforms for reviews on internet, but also with our numbers, because actually Unobravo right now is the platform that have the highest retention globally. And it doesn't mean that the therapist list forever, so the patient is attached forever to the therapist. It means that very few people abandon the therapy because they are not satisfied with the therapist that we select and that we match with our users.
And I understand you said that you have 900,000 mental health care providers. How do you work to ensure quality with that many providers?
Basically, it starts with the selection, okay? Considering that we have a team that is around 10 people now that every day only do selection of our therapists. So basically, it's like looking at a company culture that also includes all the contractors that in our case are the therapists. And when we select the therapists, we don't just look at the skill set, years of experience and everything you can imagine that is part of a hiring process. But we also look at the human aspects of the therapists. So the empathy that they have, how they welcome a patient, if they are sensible enough. So it's not just a matter of skill set. And that's why for people it's very important to feel not judged when they do therapy. This is something that sometimes is given for granted. Unfortunately, it's not for granted, and we take care a lot on this aspect. Then after that, once the therapist starts to work at Unobravo, they immediately find many webinars, courses, many things to empower themselves. So we also take care of these other parts of the journey from both the therapist and the patient side. This is an enormous amount of work, but it's very worth it because we can basically involuntarily created communities of therapists that are super excited to work at Unobravo because they both get to work, but also education, training, and empowerment to become even better therapists.
Thanks, Danila and Stefano, for that interview.